Before I start this video, do not, and I repeat, do not attack anyone mentioned in this video. Said people apologized for this. Anyways, let's start. For the past few days, my parents took away my devices, and during that time I was suffering because of my dad snapping at me and things being taken away. Let's start with February 8th. It all started one morning when I woke up and went downstairs, but my brother Jonas had the TV playing very loud and people were playing with a piano step mat. I think I fell for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I don't know. I was overstimulated and asked for my laptop and earbuds, but my parents said no. I started crying in my room. Then my parents came to my room. My mom tried comforting me, but my dad was mad and started singing excerpts of various trigger songs of mine, notably Rockabye Baby and Baby Shark. I got really mad and said I was triggered, and my dad decided to sing the latter to me more and more. He also forced me to smile while he sang it. Then he threatened to throw away my King and Daggett plushies, because he said my crushes were what influenced me to be like this. He even called King demonic. I ran away crying to my parents' room and my parents followed me there. At this point my mind was going crazy. I started having suicidal thoughts again along with thoughts of revenge, but as in doing the same thing my dad did onto Baby Shark himself. This made my dad sing at me even more and I screamed in agony. Eventually my mom prayed for me, and then got me my breakfast, which I wasn't able to have this morning due to being too scared of the noise. Then Kaya came to talk with me and everything calmed down. However, that wasn't the end. Around that time, my parents also made a new rule that I was not allowed to crush on animals or fictional characters, imposing on my orientation. They also forbade me from venting to you guys since they said you were all bad influences on me and fed me lies when you were clearly not. Around the afternoon my parents let me have my iPad, but then she caught me making a vent video, so she took it away. Why can't I let my feelings out? Later that night, we watched The Chronicles of Narnia, the first movie, but with no sound so I wouldn't get triggered since I heard that the movie had the train whistle and sound ideas horse exterior Winnie 06. After we were done, my dad asked me what the best part of the movie was, and I said it was the fox and griffin because I thought they were handsome, although I recently learned that the fox from Narnia is elderly, so now I don't really have a crush on him anymore. Anyways, after hearing that, my dad got mad again. He started telling me that I can't have sexual relations with animals, but I told him that I am zoromantic, and it's romantic only. He then told me that sexual and romantic are the same thing, so that automatically makes me a zoophile. He then threatened to throw King away again. I got so scared that my mom had to sleep with me in bed. The next day, I was so distraught by the previous day that I broke into song about the events. I did it in a Broadway musical style. Yeah, you can see how spun around my mind was. I don't really remember much about what else happened that day aside from the fact we watched the second Narnia movie that night. On February 10th, I drew pictures to cope. I drew pixel art of the main four from Let's Go Deco Bacomals and the main duo from Fly High Fantasies. Then I drew King and Akama's ship art. Sometime later my mom let me have her phone for a short while to listen to King's voice to make me feel better after what happened 2 days before, and I started squealing. At that time, Dad overheard and he got mad at me again for squealing over King's voice. He ripped up my drawings. I got really upset because there was literally nothing wrong with any of the drawings. Then he grabbed my King plushie and threatened to throw him away once again, but this time, he was also going to cut him up with scissors. My mom thankfully took the plushie from him, but she had to hide him, so that night I didn't get to sleep with King. I told my dad that I have an orientation and he needs to respect it, and he just hit me on the head with his phone and it hurt so bad. I was so sad. That night, when we watched the third Narnia movie, I was missing King, And my dad was annoyed and said something like, "Why can't you just act like you are ready to have everything back? This girl is so pure she can't even pretend or lie." This gave me an idea. The next day, I was going to act like a robot to get things back. It was my only chance. The next morning, I acted like a robot. I acted the complete opposite to my normal cheery self. I was monotone, not into animals or characters, and was too absorbed in reading the Bible. I pretended to not have the dream of an artist, but rather a pastor or businesswoman. I acted like a robotic Christian extremist in order to please my parents. At some point that morning, I read Leviticus 18 to my family and emphasized the part about forbidding humans from having relationships with animals. Then, to put up with my robot Christian extremist persona, in a robotic voice, I called my cats abominations. At that point I started crying and breaking my robot persona because I clearly didn't mean it. I apologized to all of my cats and kissed Gracie because I felt really bad because Gracie was my bestest animal friend and I would never, ever see her as an abomination. All my cats were infinity kilometers away from abominations. Why did I do this? Why? That's pretty much what happened while I was gone. I am glad I am back with you guys. Thank you for supporting me through all these years. I will always love you guys.